Hi everyone and welcome back to another sewing tutorial. I'm Julia and today I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful bias cut maxi skirt in the simplest way possible. This project is super beginner friendly and if you are just getting into sewing on the bias, it's the perfect project to start with. I will show you step by step, so even if you are completely new to sewing, you will be able to follow along with ease. You can grab the pattern from my Etsy shop and the link is down in the description. Now let's jump right into the tutorial. To start, you will need about 2 meters of fabric. The exact amount will depend on your size and the width of the fabric. You will also need about 1 meter of 3 cm white elastic and of course some matching thread. Now let's begin by cutting all the pattern pieces from the main fabric. When cutting on the bias, lay your fabric flat with both selvage edges showing and make sure there are no folds. Place your paper pattern on the fabric so that the grain line arrow is positioned at 45-degree angle to the selvage. Here I'm measuring at 2 different points along the grain line to make sure it's perfectly parallel to the selvage. Once your pattern is in place, weight it down with something heavy to keep it from shifting. Now mark the corners at the top and bottom of the fold line. This will help you know exactly where the fold is and make it easier to flip the pattern later. You can also add a few extra marks along the fold. Now it's time to cut. Start by cutting around the first half of the pattern, stopping at the fold corners, and don't forget to snip all the notches. They will help with alignment later. Now flip the pattern over using the marks you made earlier as a guide. This ensures everything lines up properly and stays symmetrical. Then cut the second half of the pattern, making sure both sides match up perfectly. Once you have cut all the pieces, place the back panel on top of the front panel with the right sides together. Begin by aligning the notches at the hips and knees, then match the top and bottom edges. Now carefully pin along one side edge, then repeat the same process on the other side. Since the fabric is cut on the bias and can stretch, make sure to pin everything flat on a smooth surface without pulling or stretching the fabric. Sew the front and back panels together with a 1 cm seam allowance. After that, finish the side seams with an overlock stitch. Now press the seams toward the back of the skirt. Cut a piece of elastic based on your size measurements from the pattern. For example, I'm making a size medium for myself, so I'm cutting my elastic to 74 cm. Place the elastic with the right size together and pin the ends at the seam. Sew the ends of the elastic together using a stretch stitch, leaving a 1 cm seam allowance. Make sure to backstitch at both ends to secure the stitching. Now finish the elastic seam by sewing over it with an overlock or zigzag stitch. Let's now divide the elastic into 4 equal sections. Fold the elastic in half with the seam on one side and mark the fold on the opposite side. Now bring the seam and the mark together and make 2 more marks on each side of the folds. By the end, you will have 4 evenly spaced marks on the elastic. Lay the skirt with the right side facing up and bring the side seams together to locate and mark the center front and center back of the skirt. Now, with the right sides together, start by pinning the elastic to the skirt at 4 evenly spaced points. Begin by matching the elastic seam to one side seam of the skirt and pin it in place. Now find the opposite side seam and pin the other end of the elastic. Next, line up the remaining 2 marks on the elastic with the center front and center back of the skirt. This way you divide both the elastic and skirt into 4 equal sections, making sure everything stretches evenly. Now sew the elastic to the skirt using a zigzag stitch or an overlock stitch with a 7mm seam allowance. Start sewing at one side seam and sew all around. While sewing, gently stretch the elastic between the pins to evenly distribute the skirt fabric. Fold the elastic inside the skirt and press it so the fabric wraps around the top edge neatly. Now pin the elastic to the skirt at the side seams. This will help keep it in place as it will be sewn over in the next step. From the right side, sew through both the elastic and the side seams using a straight stitch, sewing right along the seam lines to keep the stitches hidden. If you prefer, you can hand stitch just the seam allowances. And don't forget to back stitch well at both ends. The last step is to hem the skirt, but before you hem, let your skirt hang for 24 hours to give the fabric time to settle. This is especially important since it's cut on the bias. After that, try it on to check the length and adjust it to fit your height and preference. When you are ready, finish the bottom edge with an overlock stitch. Now press the overlock stitch to help set it in place. Fold the hem inward about 1 cm and press again. To finish the hem, top stitch about 8 mm from the edge and give the hem one last press for a neat polished look. And that's it, your skirt is all done and ready to wear. I hope this tutorial made the process easy to follow and fun. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video with other sewies. If you have any questions or need more tips, feel free to leave a comment below. Happy sewing and I will see you in the next tutorial!